Alright, in today's video, we are going to be ranking all of the crossovers in Grand Summoners. And by all of them, I'm just lying. I'm not doing any of the Awoken crossovers, so I'm only doing crossovers with 4 or more Ascended units. So I'm not going to do One Punch Man, and then none of the ones that are just Awoken units. If I was going to put One Punch Man on here, he'd probably go in the good tier. Just because it's just a bunch of Awoken units, and then one really, really good Ascended unit. But we're going to get right into it. The worst crossover of the Ascended era is going to be Hell's Paradise. So, the worst unit in this crossover, I would say, is Chobei. He's just going to be a breaker, not that good of one. And then the main character, Gabimaru, he's just kind of a nuker. He's a damage dealer, but I would use him more in nukes. And then we have Sagiri, who's going to be a breaking support with Archgen and some... I think it's an Earth debuff. She's pretty solid. She's not anything crazy, though. And then the best unit in the crossover is probably going to be Yuzuria. So she is a Type F Archgener with a massive physical res down, depending on her HP, I'm pretty sure. And she has a really weird art. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it has some sort of tankiness into it. But overall, it's a pretty good crossover. But I have to put a crossover as the worst crossover, you know? And unfortunately, that's Hell's Paradise. It's just the worst of the Ascended era. It's still a good crossover. I would still like to get these units, but it's just the worst one. And then next up, we are in the good category. There's only one crossover I would categorize as good. And that's going to be... I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of this anime, but... Sunraku, Pencilgon, Saiger Zero, and Oikatsu. And Oikatsu is going to be a kind of a accuracy nuker with a giant magic res down in the super art. Just really good accuracy unit. And does a ton of damage, but Saiger is going to be a really good nuker. Probably, I don't know where I would rank him as a nuker, but he's up there. He's one of the best nukers in the game, just because his super art has a doubled multiplier the first time you use it. So definitely solid. Going to be doing tons of damage. And then we have Pencilgon, who's going to be a breaker, archgener, damage dealer hybrid. It depends on how you want to use her. If you want to use her as a breaker, you're going to be art, super art cycling. And then if you want to use her as an archgener, damage dealer, you're going to be true art, super art cycling. You can kind of get away with true art, super art if you want to break, but it's complicated. It's a little bit difficult. And then the best unit in the crossover is probably going to be Sunraku. He's just really good for mono fire. He's kind of one of those War God Fen copies. Just really solid unit. And they're going to be the only crossover in the good list, in the good tier. So next up is going to be the amazing tier. We got a couple in here. To start off, we are going to be doing Overlord. So Overlord was the first Ascended crossover. If I was just ranking the first 4 units, it would probably be in good, but they had an addition. So there are 7 units in the Overlord crossover. It's going to be Shaltir, Demiurge, Evil Eye, Narbarol, Momon, Ainz, and Albedo. And that's the order I would have them in terms from worst to best. So Shaltir is just going to be a true art spamming damage dealer. And then Demiurge is going to be a pretty mediocre like damage buffer, tank, status cleanser kind of hybrid character. He's one of those all-around characters. Pretty good, but nothing crazy. And then Evil Eye is going to be I'm pretty sure she's type E. Earth Archgener with some magic buffs. Some DR in there. She's a pretty solid unit, but I'm pretty sure she's really only that good on Earth Magic, which isn't the greatest, but it's getting there. It's getting there. The team's pretty good so far. And then next up is Nabe. Nabe is going to be a damage buffer, really good for nukes because she has 2 support slots, 2 5-star support slots. Great for nukes. And then Momon is going to be an even better damage buffer for physical characters specifically. Just crazy physical damage up. And he is also really good for nukes. But I would say Momon's a little bit better than Narble. The issue is Momon, his True Art buff is just for physical. And Nabe's True Art buff is for anybody. But Momon also has that passive buff to whoever's the right of him gets a giant damage buff. And then next up is going to be Ainz. He's going to be an Archgener, a damage buffer. I would say he's similar to Hoka, but just worse in every way, which is really weird because Ainz is like catered to dark demons. So why would Hoka be better on that team than Ainz? I don't know. But I think they need to buff Ainz and give him more arts per second and then change his buff so it's like Frieren's. So I'm pretty sure it's for demon units. It's either demon or dark. I think it's dark. I'm pretty sure it's dark units. So he has a 100% crit damage buff and then an extra 100 for dark units. I think they should double both of those. So he should have a 200% crit damage buff and an extra 200% for dark units. So then there would be a reason to use him over Hoka on his own team comp. But that's just my thoughts. And then I think the best unit in the crossover is probably Albedo. She is slept on so hard. She is such a good unit. Previously, before I got Shiro, I would always use Albedo, and she would always get me through it. And it was more fun because the victory wasn't guaranteed. Because as soon as you get Shiro, if you have Shiro, you know what I'm talking about. That man makes the game so easy, it's unbelievable. He literally, you can shut your brain off and your team just won't die. With Albedo, there still is a chance that you're going to die. And she's pretty fun to play. I would say she's the second best tank in the game. Right after Shiro, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, not considering taunt tanks, because sometimes you just can't use taunt tanks, so I wouldn't put them up there. But non-taunt, I'm pretty sure Albedo's the second best in the game. So they're in the amazing tier. They're the first ones in there. They're kind of old, but there is just more of them, you know? And then next up, the next crossover in the amazing tier. People are going to hate me for this, but they're going to hate me for this. But I'm putting Frieren next up in the amazing tier. I just wasn't blown away by anybody in Frieren. Fern, she's just a Shell tier dupe that does more damage. And then Stark, he's just going to be a fun character. He's not really anything insane. His breaks, honestly, aren't crazy. His damage is crazy, but you got to charge it up. And then Yubel, really good Mono Earth character. Works incredibly with Evil Eye, but that's kind of it. She's not the greatest outside of Mono Earth. Especially late game. If you just got her and you're a new player, she's awesome. But in the late game, she's pretty much going to be just for Mono Earth. And then the gem of the crossover, obviously Frieren. Frieren is an insanely good support, but you kind of need another light damage dealer to make her, to really make her the best support, you know? So, unfortunately, they're going to go in the amazing tier. This one, I will say, there is definitely room to be in the insane category. It's just really too early to tell. So, this one, this isn't set in stone. This, they're worse than everything above them. It's just too early to tell for sure. So, I'm just going to put them right here for now. In the future, this could definitely change. Frieren, in a month, I could change my mind. I could look at this tier list and I could be like, oh, Frieren should be up here. But, that's where I'm going to put her for now. And then next up is going to be Slime. So, with Slime over Frieren, I think Slime... So, first of all, we have Combat Form Millum. Garbage. Then we have Diablo, sort of an all-around character. Then we have Shizu, amazing for Magic Fire. Or any fire, I think. And then we have DL Rim, great damage dealer, not as crazy as he once was. This main was once like the best DPS in the game, and MDD was running rampant. That shit was awesome. But unfortunately, he's not the best anymore. Hopefully, he'll get buffed at the end of the year when we have our yearly slime rerun. But then we have Veldora. Veldora is an awesome damage dealer. He buffs the whole team, and he has his passive, which is going to regen everybody's HP. That's just awesome. And then we have Shuna. Probably, like, you could make an argument that Shuna is the best healer in the game. Her art has a 50% heal. That's insane. Especially, like, if you put her with Frieren. I know their art gen doesn't stack, but the stats there, we got 60% stats up, plus a 50% heal, and Shuna has 150% magic res on her super art, and then Frieren has 400% damage up. You got so much health, so much heals, so much damage. It's like, it's a good combo. You gotta trust me. I know their arch gen doesn't stack, which is extremely unfortunate, but they do work well together. And then we got the best unit in the crossover is Samurai Demon Lord Rimuru. Just a great arch-genner damage dealer. Just buffer for the whole team. Awesome. And with Slime, you have all of the Awoken units. None of the other crossovers before them have Awoken units. So with Slime, you got, like, I don't even know how many. There's so many units in this crossover. With all the Awoken ones, I'm not going to list them off, but the best one is Human Rimuru. I think Human Rimuru is the best Awoken unit in the game, just because of how unique he is with his art. His art is busted. So I do think Slime is better than Frieren, but once again, Frieren, it's too early to tell. She might be up here, you know. Just depends. She's got to, like, settle in a little more, I guess. But after that, next up is going to be our insane category. So we got 4 crossovers left. The first one in the insane category is going to be Kenshin. So, I guess I should probably order them like this. Right? So this is the best one in the amazing, and this is the worst one in the amazing. So Kenshin is the worst one in the insane. So we got Makoto Shishio, which I think that's his name. Somebody in my comments was telling me he's busted, and, you know, I still think he's going to be the worst unit in the crossover. He's probably really good on Mono Fire, but you, like, need Kirasame to keep him alive. Otherwise, he's just going to kill himself, and then you're cooked. But he is a Arch-Genner damage buffer for Mono Fire. He's amazing on Mono Fire, but that's about it. So I think he's the worst. And then you have Sanosuke, who is a top 3 DPS in the game. And we have Kenshin, who is insane on Mono Light, especially Mono Light Human. Just 40% DR for 2 minutes passively with the Type F Archgen, 200% attack up, insane damage on his super art, and his art buffs the next super art use. So your true art, super art, he's going to be arch-shedding the whole team and doing crazy damage and giving DR. He's insane. He's such a good unit. I'm so upset that I didn't pity him, but, you know, I'll worry about that years from now. I'll be in my bed alone at night, sleeping. It's raining outside, and I'll just look at the ceiling, and I'll be like, why didn't I pity Kenshin? But we'll get there when we get there. I'm not too worried about it right now. And the best unit in the crossover, I think, was Hajime. He's the nuker. He is the nuker. He's just that guy, you know? If you have him, you know what I'm talking about. He just blows bosses up. He literally, you super art with him, and anything he touches is just dead. Or it immediately gets to its threshold. It's amazing. I love using him. He's so cool. But they are at the bottom of the insane category because we just got some crazy crossovers. All right, next up. This one was a little tough to decide. Very, very tough. But the third best crossover in the game, I think, is going to be Kill la Kill. So, this one was tough. First of all, the Awoken units. None of the Awoken units are that crazy except Mako. Mako, back in the day, was like the best Awoken unit in the game. She's up there with Heart and Rimuru. Just one of the best Awoken units in the game. She's still one of the best Awoken units in the game, and she's just crazy because she has type EX2 Archgen, and she's getting buffed when Kill la Kill reruns. It's just, she's so good. Like, you might still be using her in the Ascended era. She's that good. And type EX2 Archgen means she can stack with anything else, which is amazing. She can stack with any other unit in the game. So, and then you have like Ryuku, who is just a nuker, kind of a bad one, but that's it. Nui is a really good farming character, and then Satsuki is a good breaker. But the or the Ascended units, we have Nonan, just whatever, nobody cares. And then we have Gamagori, probably either the best or the second best taunt tank in the game. And then we have Uzu, top 3 DPS in the game, top 2 for sure, probably number 1. I love him the most. I think he's the best DPS in the game, but others may disagree, so he's definitely top 2. And then the best unit in the game, Hoka. So the argument for me putting the other 2 above them, I'm going to try my best, but in the Kill la Kill crossover, we have the best taunt tank in the game, the best DPS in the game, and the best unit in the game. So, now I got to argue why the next one is even better. So, let's be honest here. We got 2 crossovers left. You already know who's the best crossover in the game. This really was just, like, a fight for second place. Like, it's not even close at which one of these is the best crossover in the game. It's very clearly... It's Fate. Fate is busted. There's so many... There's 12 Ascended units, and they are all good. But let's talk about Shadow first. So in Shadow, we have Delta. Top 3 DPS in the game. She is crazy. If you have Delta and you don't use her, you don't think she's that good, you're wrong. She is a top 3 DPS. My top 3 DPSs are going to be Delta, Sanosuke, and then Uzu. I think those are the best damage dealers in the game. You can call me crazy, but that's what I think. And then we also have Alpha, so a great Archgener, physical damage buffer, and her passive is crazy. She's going to heal the whole team and give them all DR. That's awesome. And then we have, this is a hot take for Shadow specifically, like for this crossover. I think Shadow's better than Beta. But Beta, she is, like, she's comparable to Shiro, but she has Archgen. Like, she is type F Archgen. And so her art has a barrier on it. Her true art has 40% DR and type F Archgen. And then her super art has a, I think it's a magic res, or maybe it's, I think it's magic damage up, depending on how many water units are on the team. It's either magic damage up or magic res down. But either way, great for mono water magic. Works, like, this is Fern's best friend if you have Fern. And if you put her to the right of a unit, whoever's on the left, whatever unit is to the left of Beta will get a massive damage buff. I think it's 150% damage up just for being next to her, which is crazy. So she's one of the best units in the game. She's an SSS for sure. But we have Shadow. Shadow, I'm telling you right now, once we start getting better dark units, like they're working on light right now. We got like Frieren, Kenshin, Saitama, and Islid. That's the light comp. One of the best comps in the game. Once they start adding to dark, I'm telling you right now, Shadow will be like the best unit in the game. This man, he gets 5 arts a second passively to dark allies. His art has flinch res for the whole team. His true art is a stacking physical res down with a evasion down, and it archgens. And his super art is, I'm pretty sure it's a 200% damage buff with a defense ignore for the whole team. Like, once we start getting better dark units, this man is going to go insane. Like, the mono dark team is going to be so good. And that's my argument for putting Shadow Garden over Kill la Kill. Like,
Kill a Kill, we have, once again, we got like the best taunt in the game, best DPS in the game, and the best unit in the game. But in Shadow Garden, we have top 3 DPS. We have an amazing Archgener damage buffer. We have the second best. Oh yeah, when I said Albedo was the second best tank in the game, I lied. It's Beta. Beta is the second best tank in the game, and she Archgens, and she buffs damage, and you have Shadow. Like, Shadow Garden is the second best crossover in the game, in my opinion. Kill a Kill is a very, very close third. But now we're here at the best crossover in the game. It's very obviously Fate. There's 12 Ascended units, and not a single one of them are bad, which is insane. So, the worst unit in the crossover, I think, is Bazette. She's just going to be a counter nuker. And then we have Saber Alter, who's just a damage dealer. She does have stats up on her art, which can heal, which is really nice. And then we have Miyu, who's just going to be an accuracy damage dealer, kind of similar to Oikatsu. And then we have, what's her name? Sakura? I think it's Sakura. She's DL Rim's best friend, pretty much. She's going to buff damage. She's going to dark res down, more damage buffing, and arts buff for a single unit. And then we have Summer Ilya, who's going to be the best magic res down in the game. And then we have normal Ilya, who's going to be a type F Archgener with a crit buff and then a super art damage buff. I'm pretty sure she's also similar to War God Fen. Just because she has that crit buff, she has kind of a unique Archgen. Her super art does a bunch of damage. I don't remember what her art does, but she's a solid unit. And then we have Rin and Luvia, who is going to be a mono fire magic demon. Like, she's so good on mono fire magic because they Archgen for fire, and then on magic teams they have a magic damage buff and a magic res down on the super art. And for all teams, they have 300% passive damage up every time you burn an enemy, 30% more damage for everybody on the team. So in stages where there's a lot of adds, you just hit the art, burn everybody, and then the whole team just gets tons of damage up passively. And then we have Chloe, one of the best breakers in the game, an Archgener. Her passive, where once the boss does get broken, the whole team gets 200 arts, is insane. And then we have Summer Chloe, who's going to be a healer, Archgener, damage buffer, really solid unit, very, very good on mono light. I'm pretty sure her big damage buff is for humans though. But next up is going to be Summer, Luvia, and Rin. The best nuking support in the game. If you have Divine Arachnid's Tears, insane, so good. Especially for physical teams or especially for earth nukers. Insane. And then we have Summer Miyu, the best farming character in the game by a long shot. Literally just makes everything easy. And then we have Shiro. The boy Shiro turns the whole game into easy mode. If you have him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's literally just easy. It's just easy. He's got 30% passive DR when UBW is up. He's got 30% DR on his art. And then another 30% DR with his true weapon. 90% DR for the whole team. With, I'm pretty sure, like a 10 or 12k barrier. Somewhere in that range. He's insane. And he's a pretty good damage dealer himself. So, yeah. Them being in the best, there's just so many units and they're all good. And two of them I would say are SSS. We got Summer Miyu and Shiro. Those are SSS units. And then you have Summer, Luvia, and Rin, which are like SS. They're almost there. They're like right on the edge. They're the best nuking support in the game. And then you got Summer Chloe, who is also like an SS unit, just a really good healer, Archgener, damage buffer. But there's just so much good from this crossover. So that's how I would rank them. Right here, we got the worst is Hell's Paradise. Good, we got... I still can't remember the name of this crossover. I watched it. It was so bad. But next up in Amazing, so we have Overlord, and then we have Frieren, and then we have Slime, and then in Insane, we have Kenshin, and then we have Kill la Kill, and then we have Shadow, and then the best crossover in the game, without a doubt, is Fate. There's just too many good units. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. So, see ya!